The Dr. Ray Podcast is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio. Here's today's monologue with Dr. Ray Guarendi.
My producer man, Andrew Kruchik, and I, last week, were talking about teenagers because his daughter is 13. He said she's a doll. She's just a very easy kind of kid to raise. But he was talking to someone that he knew, and this particular teen was pretty surly and disrespectful. And the comment given to that parent was, well, that's teenagers. That's who they are. They're like that. Kind of got to weather it, is the implication. Or their room is a pigsty. Well, just close the door. Of course, I don't really know what a pigsty is. I've never really seen them. Not really sure what a pigsty is. One comedian said his mother was an expert on pigsties. She would say, "This is the worst pigsty I have ever seen," which raises the question, how many pigsties have you seen? Child's room's that way. The experts will tell you. I've not done an official survey, but informally, I would bet the majority of them would say, let it go. It's his domain. Shut the door. Make it steel. Animals can gnaw through wood. But it's your house. And it may be the natural dishevelment of possessions of teenagers, but is it good? I don't believe that teenager just is. In other words, they get more argumentative or more surly about things, more difficult in their thinking. I don't believe that is the natural progression. First of all, teenager is a relatively new term. And talk about teenagers. For the most part, you just sort of grew up, and in a lot of ways, many places in the history of the world, you didn't even know your age. Even now, I remember we were talking to a missionary priest from one of the African countries, and I said, "Father, how old are you?" "I'm 72. Now, he looked like he was about 35. I said, "Father, you're 72? "Yes." "Huh. Do you know when your birthday is?" No, we don't keep track of that. So the whole idea of a certain persona unique to the teen years is a relatively new thing. I personally believe, after years of being in this business, that the stereotype of the more difficult teenager, and you parents who have younger kids, you hear these things. "Oh, enjoy them now. Those teenage years are right around the corner. Yeah, my 9-year-old daughter loved me until she became 12. And they scare you. "Look out. Here it comes. Nothing you're going to do about it. They're just going to act like this." I don't think that's as much developmental as it is cultural. Where I am sitting right now in this studio at Domino Farms, I don't know how far back I would have to go to say this was a farm field or a meadow or a woods. But let's just say it was a farm 150 years ago. Do you suppose that the farmer, when his boy turned 14, would be bemoaning to his friends, "Well, my son's 14. He's one of them teenagers. Yeah, he used to be real helpful, but now I can't get nothing out of him. It's hard to get him up. Hard to get him up in the morning, Get him off to school, that don't happen. Yeah, my other buddies are telling me the same thing. Their kids, they get those ages, they just, all of a sudden, they just start being difficult. I don't know. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting until he gets to be 19 and 20, and he sort of decides that he can just be a little more help around here." I don't think so. I think that farmer was ecstatic that boy was 14 because he was high energy, indefatigable, and could give him some real help around the place. I think one of the reasons that kids into their teens become a little more resistant to parents' rules or limits or structure is they look around. And especially if you have standards and supervision that is different from the norm, they look around and they compare. And they get resentful or they get upset or they get argumentative because why can't I? Why can't I have that? Why can't I do that? I'm 15. I should be able to do that. Everybody I know has that. Everybody I know can do that. And so that breeds a sort of attitude. And you use that word a lot with teens, don't you? Oh, she's just got that attitude. And the word attitude has become pejorative because if her attitude was, hello, mother, how might I help you today? You wouldn't call it attitude, but that's an attitude, just a good one. So we use the word attitude to describe their words, surliness, argumentativeness, whatever kind of demeanor. But I just don't believe that that's automatic with the adolescent years. Oh, Dr. Ray, come on. Our hormones are kicking in. Boys get feistier. Girls may get a little more emotional and moody. That is true. That is true. The bodies change. I got that part. That doesn't account for all of it. I just can't fathom that accounts for all of it. I asked a girl once, I was in Cleveland. She was the clerk at a hotel. I was checking in. I found out she was from Nigeria. And I asked her, said, are you here permanently? No. She says, I'm just here for school. What's differences strike you right away quick about our culture and your culture, Nigeria? She didn't hesitate. She said, your children. What do you mean? Oh, my. Our children would never be able to talk like that to their parents. Never. It wouldn't be tolerated at all. It would be stopped. Now, I didn't go into details on how they stopped it. Because you can't just say, now that's enough of that. That doesn't stop it. She noticed it right away quick. Oh, didn't they have teenagers over there? Wasn't adolescence and hormonal changes happening over there? Now, again, this is just anecdotal. This is just her perception. And I didn't know what part of Nigeria she was from. Okay, I got that part. And I don't know what Americans she had encountered. But at the same time, my wife and I had 10 teenagers. They've all passed through teenagerhood, and at one time we had 7 of them at the same time. Did we get a little more pushiness from the kids, getting to be more of what they want? Yeah, we did. But I got to say, we did not have this idea of, man, I can't wait till this kid grows up and gets through this phase. No, I think part of it for us is we didn't tolerate it. We didn't allow it. And our standards were probably different. We homeschooled, so right away, quick, standards are going to be different in a lot of respects from their general educated peer group. Yeah, I guess the message of all this, don't be so quick to chalk it up to standard adolescence or teenagehood that you have to wait to pass. Recognize you can address it, you can deal with it. And yeah, you may get a little more of it, but it doesn't have to characterize those years, because I'll tell you what, natural teen years, they're zestful, they're bubbly, they're fun, they're energetic. At least that's what it used to be before social media and the culture started telling them they got to be dissatisfied and depressed. The natural persona of teens, wouldn't you like to have a lot of that energy back? That's what it is. Don't let anybody talk you into this. Oh, that's just the way they are. That's how mine talks to me too. That's just who they are. No, it's not just who they are. I'm Dr. Ray.
More of Dr. Ray's Monologues can be found on his website, drray.com. Monologues as well as full-length programs of The Doctor Is In can be heard at AveMariaRadio.net and EWTN.com/radio.